You can find me at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, .TV on IG.
Hello, Mr. Aaron.
How you been, man? How have you been?
Good.
Pretty good. That's good, man. Did you do anything this past weekend?
No, I don't think so. No, I didn't.
Pretty much chilled
I
out.
don't think so.
How much more how's it been coming along with your school, some of your other school classes and that kind of thing, your schoolwork and classes? You've been feeling like, when I say how's it been coming along, I mean like in the different environment, being as though you're not actually in school physically, you're doing it virtually. Like how has that been for you? Do you feel like you've gotten adjusted to it?
Yeah, I gotten pretty adjusted to it.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest thing? Well, first of all, do you miss school?
Like physical school?
Yeah.
Kinda and kinda not. Because right now I can't see all my friends because we're having separate classes. But then again, because I have one of my best friends is younger than me, so he's in a different class. But also I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m.
Right.
So my brother has to get to school around 7, and then I have to get to school around 8.
Right.
I don't have to wake up 6 a.m. I can wake up anything on Thursdays. I have to wake anything below 10, and then on every other day I can wake up, but on the weekends I can wake up on any time unless I'm doing something. But yeah.
So do you
I can wake up at like 12 if I even wanted to.
Right.
But then it's gonna take me 10 minutes to get on class and 10 o'clock.
So basically, the later you get up, the later your classes, the later you're gonna be in your classes, over the course of the day.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean.
So meaning like, if you start your work, because you can start your work when you want to, right? Since now you're not in school, can you start your work when you want to, or are your classes still on a particular schedule?
See, my class is on a particular schedule, but I can do my homework anytime. Except for every week we have like a special assignment, so we have to turn it on the following Monday. So our teachers tells us on Monday, and then the following Monday we have to turn it in.
Right.
And it's probably some big project.
Yeah, that makes sense. So okay, so with that, what I hear you saying so far is that one of the first differences between being in physical school and not is that you get a chance to wake up later, as opposed to waking up earlier. Do you like that more? Do you like having the ability to wake up later and kind of pace yourself when it comes to your assignments, or do you think, like, for your personality and for how you go about school, do you feel like it's better for you to have a schedule like how school was, where you got to get up early, you got to be there, everything is real strict, or do you like it better where there's a little bit of flexibility and you can still do your work, but you can have more flexibility? Which one do you like better?
Having more flexibility.
Yeah.
Once I get my regular class super late, because at first we were all in the same class and we'd have to do around 7, 8 o'clock, and then we have the rest of the day to ourselves.
Yeah.
But for us in elementary, so now there's 3 separate classes, and now us in elementary, we get the whole morning to ourselves, except for Thursday, and then we get the whole afternoon for us, except for take like 10 minutes out of it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense to me. So let me ask you this. This will be, I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions about this before we jump in. So with this flexibility, do you feel like, now you think, when you think about what your grades are, what your, how you usually perform in school, how you usually do as far as your grades and turning in your work and all that other stuff, do you feel like you still are able to maintain the same level of productivity with that flexibility that you did when, so meaning like, even with the flexibility, do you find yourself still keeping up with everything like you need to, or like how you would normally do it if you were in school, as far as your own?
I'll keep up with everything I need.
You do? Okay. So you don't have too many times where you get distracted or so that's good then. That's good, because, and the reason why I ask you that is because a lot of times in life, when it comes to flexibility, or when it comes to a strict system like school, depending on the person, some people do better with one than the other. Some people need a strict discipline format in order for them to make sure they stay on top of things. And then some other people do better with flexibility. I'm a person that did better with flexibility when it came to school. I went through school, all the way up to high school like normal, but by the time I got to thinking about college and I started going in that direction, I really opted for all flexible school. So much so that I didn't go to the physical colleges that I was going to go to because they didn't have online classes at the time. And I wanted the flexibility of being able to wake up whatever time I wanted to do my work. And I also wanted the flexibility of being able to do my work at my own pace too. But I'm also, the type of person who can do well on his own, with his own discipline and with his own schedule. I don't necessarily have to have someone to be on my back. And then also I'm pretty intelligent. So if I run into problems, then I can kind of sort things out, But that's why I ask you that, because what you're going to find about this particular time as you get older, what you're going to find is that this is going to teach you a lot about life and like what kind of situations you should put yourself in based on your personality. You're going to find out if you do better working at your own pace and at your own flexible schedule, or if you need a more disciplined schedule, or approach. It's going to help you out when you go to get jobs. It's going to help you out when you go just educate yourself in other things. It's going to help you out with certain goals that you set, and really, working to achieve those goals. So cool, man. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear all that. And other than that, have you been listening to any music since last week? Like, and let me ask the question a little bit differently. Have you been listening to music from the perspective of music appreciation, or trying to hear in the music a bit deeper than just how you normally would when music is just playing and you're just not really paying attention to it?
I'm just listening to it.
Yeah. Cool. So all right, so let's talk about, from last week to this week, as you listen, we'll call it listening critically, because when you listen to something critically, and you're listening, you're not just doing what we call passive listening, where it's just kind of, you're listening in for some things. So with the music that you listen to, was there any experience that you had, based off of what we talked about last time? Was there anything you heard differently or that jumped out at you from listening since the last time, we connected?
No, not really.
Okay. Cool. Did you by chance, I meant to send you, I'm going to send it this week. I uploaded the video from last week, but the video got blocked because of the fact that certain music you can't have in your video, the YouTube copyright thing. So I have to actually edit it and put it up. So I'm going to send you that. I'm also going to send you the one from today too, so you can listen back to it. But last time we were listening to the DMX song, and we were talking about like some of the stuff that we heard. And so today we're going to do is we're going to just do like a brief going back over those elements of music, because we're going to keep really, believe it or not, everything that you'll ever learn about how to listen to music closely and be able to appreciate it, it's literally in these elements that I showed you last time. And I'm going to actually pull these elements up right now. But everything you'll ever hear or ever listen to is going to always be related to these elements, because these elements really is what all of music is. All of music is located in these few elements. So give me a second, I'm going to pull it up. Did you notice since last week, since us having that talk about like some of these elements and listening from a closer perspective, did you notice that you heard that you had did you have a deeper experience of the music, or did you enjoy it more, or was it about the same?
I enjoyed it more.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Because to be honest, that really is the whole point of music appreciation. It's really a simple art. Like, music appreciation is really not work. And that's why I'm actually enjoying this experience with you all, because when I was in school, they made it work. They made it like it wasn't fun. It was just work. But really all it's about is just listening to music and just enjoying it and noticing things. Okay, so I'm going to show you my screen, and I'm going to go to what we were looking at before. So we started here before, right? You remember this elements of music.
Mm-hmm.
Rhythm, dynamics, melody, harmony, texture, tone, color, and form. And then we went to this here, and we talked about what each one of those words meant. So I'm just going to go back through them real fast. This beat that you hear playing in the background of my voice, you can hear that beat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm playing this beat, you know, the same one that I played as my theme music before, as I'm playing this, as we talk about some of these elements, literally just as we're talking about them, listen to the music in the background and just examine, you know, listen to it and see if you hear any of this. So from the top, and the elements of music are in no particular order, so we're just going to go. So from the top, the timbre or the type of instrument sound. Right now, even in the background, you hear drums, you hear piano, you know, you hear maybe a little bit of bass, you hear some claps. Those are all the different timbres. And then on the next row, we have pitch and whether sounds are high or low. The second element here is pitch. That piano, if you notice, is making some high-pitched noises. You know, turn it up a little bit. That piano you hear is making some high-pitched noises. You know, you hear it kind of coming in and out. And then we have the rhythm, whether something is long or short. So like when you listen to those claps, would you say those claps are long or very short sounds? You said short?
Short.
Yeah. So those are definitely short sounds. Definitely short sounds. And then after that, now, what in this beat, do you hear any sounds that are long? Like when I say long, I mean a clap is clap, real short, clap, but something long would just kind of hold out for a bit longer. Do you hear anything in the beat that's stretching out a little bit longer?
The piano?
Yes. And the reason why the piano is stretching out longer is because, you know, the way that you play a piano, you press your fingers on the keys, and you can play a variation of short or long sounds. But a lot of times you hear pianists hold their hands on the keys and just let what we call the chords. We let the chords just what we call sustain. They just stay there and we hold them, you know. So that's rhythm. And music is pretty much a fluctuation of all those of short and long, a combination of short and long rhythms. So the tempo, would you say this beat, how does this beat feel to you? Do you feel like this beat is, how would you describe it as far as tempo? If you're thinking about it as fast, slow, or mid-tempo, medium, like how would you describe it if someone played this for you and they said, you know, what tempo does this feel?
Some parts, I'd say medium because some parts are kind of fast,
Right.
and some parts are kind of slow.
Right, for sure. And here's the thing. So it's a good observation you just said, because there's almost like music is multi-dimensional. And when you listen in the way that we're listening, you start to hear that multi-dimensional experience. So what I mean is like you said, you would say kind of fast. I mean, you say medium tempo because some things are fast and slow. So what you're hearing is a combination of the musical instruments and all the things that it's doing within the beat, and then you're hearing how they all come together to equal this beat. So it's at the tempo like this, and that is mid-tempo. That is not fast or slow. That is just how it goes. See that kind of tempo, mid-tempo. Believe it or not, hip hop, like most classic hip hop from like the 90s and really around the time when like hip hop was really formed between the 80s and 90s, most of the beats were mid-tempo. They weren't too fast, they weren't too slow. They were just like right in between. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to switch my screen, and I'm going to show you my recording program, because one thing you're going to see in this recording program, I forgot to, wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm sharing the audio with you too. Okay, so can you see my my recording program, Logic?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So up here, I'm gonna actually play. Let's see, I'm gonna mute this for a second. Okay, up here, do you see this number right here, 120? Do you see this number up top where my mouse is, where it says 120?
Yeah.
Okay. So that 120 there represents what we call BPM, boy pat marker, BPM. And BPM stands for, not boy pat marker, I use that that BPM stands for beats per minute. I don't know why I did that. So that was really funny. I was going to explain to you that it was beats per minute, and instead of just saying beats per minute, I used other words to explain the letters. So BPM is beats per minute. Okay, and what that means is that's just like when you hear like a little click, like a metronome. Now I'm gonna show you something up here where it says where my mouse is. It says tempo display. This indicates the playback or recording speed. And in this program, if you drag it vertically, you can speed the beat up, and if you drag it down, you'll make it slow. So I'm going to show you something real quick. Over here, this next button where my mouse is called the metronome. And you probably have you ever heard of a metronome? Or yeah, have you ever heard of metronome?
I've heard of that, but I haven't heard The sound of it.
Okay. So a metronome is basically just a little device that clicks back and forth over and over to keep you on track. And people would use it to practice too. So this is a digital version of it. There's actually a physical version of this. And so we made a digital version. So I'm going to turn this on, and this is what it sounds like. It's just going to be a click. So you hear that click, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that click is keeping us on beat. And that click right now, this 120 up here represents 120 clicks per minute. So basically, if we wouldn't do it because this is not how you think about it, but the theory behind it is basically if we were to start a watch right now, and as soon as I start this click, and we would have watched, we would start that watch. By the time it got to a minute, that click would have, clicked 120 times. Now, we don't really think about it like that. So that's just a technical definition. The way we really think about it is these numbers represent how fast or how slow our beat is going to be. So what I mean is if I start that, this means that my beat is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how fast the beat is going. Now, so what that means as far as making it practical is if I was recording to this beat, or if I was playing or recording to this beat, I would be trying to keep up with that clip. All right, so I'm gonna put this on drums, and I'm actually gonna play key drums right now. So I'm gonna play the drums with my fingers on this keyboard in front of me. These are the sounds. Listen to this. These are the sounds. That's a keyboard drum kit. I'm actually playing this on the keyboard, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a beat, right? I'm going to play a beat with my hands, and I'm going to try to keep up with this 120 beats. I'm going to try to keep up with that because that's what's keeping me on track. So say the beat was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm doing is, if you notice, I'm keeping up with that beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's the tempo. Now, if I slow this down, I'm gonna play this, and then I'm gonna slow this down, and I'm gonna just take it down a couple beats. I'm gonna take it to 110. Do you hear how this click is already slower at 110?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So now listen to the beat as I play it. One, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm gonna slow this down even more. I'm gonna go down another 10 beats. And now it's at 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm gonna slow it down a bit more. And this is when we get into the range really now of like hip hop. Hip hop is usually between like 90 beats, like classic hip hop is between usually like 90 beats and say like 100 beats per minute. No particular reason. It's just a tempo. So if I go at this tempo, it would sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice, this tempo is about the tempo that hip hop flows when we flow. It's like that kind of tempo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna demonstrate something for you real quick. I'm gonna actually make a hip hop beat in 60 seconds just using that method, and I'm gonna do it real fast, and then I'm gonna explain what I did. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna record the drums at that tempo at 90 beats per minute. It's gonna sound like this. Let me do that. Let me do that differently. So I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna make it a bit more simple.
Mr. Aaron,
Yep.
every time you play the drums, I can hear a little bit and then it just tunes out, and then at the end it just goes back.
Okay, got you. So what I'm gonna do is, maybe it's because of the delay. So I'm gonna play the drums first, and I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna record a couple parts, right? And then after it finishes, then I'm just gonna play it, and I'm gonna see if you can just hear it steadily. So I'm gonna record it first, and then let's see if you hear it back. So let's see. Give me a second too, because I actually wanted to record my. Well, no, I'll just leave it like this. Okay. So yeah, maybe it might be because of the delay. So let me just record, and then we'll talk about it in a few seconds. All right, so I'm gonna record this. Just catch what you can. All right, here we go. So why is this not starting? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what I'm gonna do with that is I'm gonna record another part over top of that. That
literally just tuned out my ear. Like when you were playing it, just like tuned out.
You said it tuned out?
Yeah, so when you started playing, and then it's like it left my headphones once you started playing it.
Got you. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna record like 2 more parts, and then I'm just gonna play it, and let's see if it jumps back in your headphones. So even though it's messing up right now, just hold tight for a second. I'm gonna see what happens if I record a couple more parts. Let me see what happens. So actually, one thing I'm gonna actually do is, since we did this last time, I'm actually gonna record somewhat of a version of that DMX song that we're listening to. And I'm gonna do this real quick so I can refer to it to get the rhythm. So that was, what was the name of the song again? It was DMX. Do you
X gonna give it to you.
X gonna X gonna. Okay, got it. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna listen to it fast. All right, I'm gonna stop it so that way if I put it in the video, it won't do the copyright thing. Now I'm gonna make that beat, but at this tempo. But I'm gonna make that same beat, but I'm just gonna do it at a bit more slow tempo. Let's see. Where was that? What sound did I use? Was it just brass?
It was right there. It's the brass and boy or something.
Oh, got it. Brass ensemble. Good job, man. Good eye.
It's already in like your preset thing.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, right. That's right down here. Good job, man. Good eye. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record that part. How's this doing this? I'm actually going to record that part over these drums. So, and I'm going to slow this down just a little bit. I'm going to slow it down to 85 just because I want to make it a little bit slower. All right, here we go. So here we go. I'm going to throw that there. Here's the brass. So here we go. I'm going to record that over top of this. In fact, I'll use a higher sound. See, okay, so what I did was I did this. I was going to do this, but I realized something, and I wonder if your ear can hear it too. When I did this, it's the right sounds, but it's too low though. It's not actually this.
Yeah, I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like it.
Right. It's actually this. It's the same notes, but I had to I had to move it up. So that's a part of listening this way. We catch things like that. So let's do it. I'm gonna record that part, and I took it down a little bit more. All right, so I just recorded that last part long like that just so I can keep it simple. Okay, so now, if you notice, listen to this. And
I
that,
feel like you should have made the a little bit shorter.
the last note, make the last note a little bit shorter.
Yeah, like remember it was like dun, dun, or like dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the
Yeah,
last?
it needs to be a little shorter. Like the last note needs to be a little shorter.
Good observation. Good observation. So that is true. And so what I'm going to do, and the reason why I did that, because I wanted to hold it out to the end of that beat, just to make something. But that's exactly what you're saying, because that's what you notice about the beat. It was a different rhythm. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that rhythm here. I'm just going to make it, I'm actually going to make that rhythm shorter. And I'm doing this manually. I could have just replayed it, but I'm doing this manually. I'm literally just right here in this window, just trimming up the note. I'm literally just trimming it so that it's shorter. So let's see. I might use this. Now, even if this is not the same thing, I'll probably just use it just to go to the next step. But that is exactly what I want to do here. So for right now, and I think I might just leave it at that. Another thing I could have did was I could have actually just repeated that phrase. So instead of holding that last long note, I could have, and I was thinking about doing this too. I could have actually did. Like I could have repeated that. What you think about that one? You like that? Do you think that I should try that one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's try that one and see how it sounds. I'm gonna turn it back up so it's a bit loud. All right, let's do it. Okay, now what I'm gonna do out of that, I'm gonna use that and I'm gonna make it loop. I'm gonna make it just keep going around and around. I'm gonna hit this button up here. That's gonna make that part just keep playing over and over and over, because this beat just mainly repeats. So I'm gonna loop that. And then now when you listen to it, it's gonna keep playing that over and over seamlessly. Like I don't even have to make any more of the beat, because after making that one small part, if this was a whole song, then I could just let this play over and over like this. It'll play automatically. You see how it just keeps going on?
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead, I'm listening.
should we kind of remember if it's a loop,
Uh-huh.
then it's gonna be the same thing. So shouldn't we put the remember how it goes like dun, like after at least two, and then it goes. Yep,
Yep, it
if
changes.
you can do that, it would be an entire loop
Right.
of almost the entire song.
Exactly. You're right. You're 100% right. So basically what you're saying, which is a good observation. And honestly, if I was So one of the things I'm going to show you that you're going to like seeing on my channel is that I have sat down with, I have taken beats like the ones we're listening to, like with the DMX, and I've taken like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, and I've done what we're doing here, where I'll listen to each instrument and rebuild it, and I'll go through the whole song and remake the like you're talking about now. I'll make every part, everywhere where it's different, and make the whole song, and then I'll make it like how it was on the original song, and then I'll also even sometimes add like my own flavor to it. So I can't wait for you to hear those full compositions, because you're absolutely right. That's the direction that we would start going in order to really make this match the one that we heard, even though we just,
Also,
yeah.
one more question.
Mhm.
Are you gonna get copyrighted?
No, not for this, because
Making-
no, I won't, because it's, well, for two reasons. Number one, YouTube doesn't pick up on this because this is not the exact song. So the song itself, every song is like a fingerprint. Do you know that? Do you know one of the, I guess you could say the special thing about a fingerprint, that it's like there's no two fingerprints that are exactly the same. Did you know that?
Mhm.
Yeah. So music is the same way. Let me show you something down here. So basically, this right here is the music's fingerprint. See this? See all these lines down here? Almost looks like a heart monitor.
Mhm.
This actually is the musical fingerprint. So I'm going to demonstrate. In fact, I'm going to use this to demonstrate, because this one will even describe it better. So I'm going to play the track from earlier, and if you notice, look at it, listen to the track, listen to the beats, listen to the rhythm, listen to all those things, and look at these squiggly lines, and you're going to notice something. So here's the beat. I'm going to be quiet for about 15, 20, 30 seconds, and tell me what you notice, or afterwards we'll talk about what you notice. Okay, do you notice something that these lines that you see here and those sounds you hear have in common?
Mhm.
What do you notice?
Well, it's kind of my dad records all of our services.
Mhm.
So, and like I always look at like the monitor, and it goes up with how high the sound is.
Right. So basically, oh, hey, Tony, I'm sorry I didn't even see you in here. How you doing today?
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
What does it mean by
Give
What'd
me
you say?
that question one more time, just because it cut out when you said that.
why does it say stereo out?
Okay, good question. Right, you talking about down here where my mouse is?
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I said stereo out there is because all of this music is going out. Let me see, how could I describe this? You know how you listen to a pair of headphones, and when you have headphones in, you have sound coming through both sides, and you're listening to it that
Yeah.
way? Yeah, that's called listening in stereo. Like when you listen to your music and you hear all of those sounds coming through both your ears, that's listening in stereo. So what this is saying is that all this music here is coming out in stereo. We're able to hear it in both of our ears and hear all the sounds. So good question, Tony. Thank you for asking that question. I appreciate it, man. Um, so yes, what you were saying, Aaron, is what I was pointing out. All these squiggly lines, if you notice, this is like the way that the beat. This is like the way that the beat goes. If you just looked at it as far as lines, one, two.
Also, it's like
Notice every time.
also it's
Go ahead, I'm listening.
also it's like symmetrical.
Yes.
I don't know why there's two lines, but they're kind of symmetrical?
Yes. The reason why they're symmetrical is because those are drum hits. See, let me show you what you're hearing. When I look at this now, I actually see music because I've been reading these. Well, these are called waveforms. This is like the musical fingerprint. These are the music coming through in this form of like a monitor where it's showing the waveform. So believe it or not, this first one right here, I'm gonna zoom in so you can really see it close. This is kick. This is drum kick, clap, drum kick, clap. That's actually the drums playing over that part. Watch this. If you notice, 1, 2, it's like kick, clap, kick, clap. Now listen to the beat again. And in fact, I wish I could put, where's my loop? Okay, there we go. I'm gonna actually just loop that one part. So I'm just gonna keep playing that one part over and over again. Actually, it'll be about right there. Notice that that's actually the drum beat.
The music is tuning out of my headphones again.
I got you. So basically, that's the drum beat. That's the drum beat there. So now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to let's see, you were asked, oh, so basically your question was, is this gonna be, is the copyright thing? The answer is no, because even though this particular beat that we're making, even making this DMX beat, even though it has a fingerprint of its own, it doesn't look like the original fingerprint because it's not the same. I'm making my own version of it, so it's not quite the same. I'm not using the exact sounds that they use. I don't have all of the drum parts that they had in there. I don't have DMX's voice or all of those things that was happening in the background. So yeah, it actually won't, because it won't recognize this. All right, so now I'm gonna go back to the beat, right? I'm gonna go back to the beat again. And Tony, I'm sorry, since now I know that you're in here, you'll see that we're remaking your beat, and we got about maybe 15 minutes left, and we're gonna remake this whole beat, or at least we're gonna remake just one section of this whole beat, just this one part. So I'm gonna do one more thing in this beat. Is I'm gonna come down here because I heard a bass line in that beat too, or a bass part. I heard like a low sound like this. Now it wasn't exactly that, but I'm just gonna use it, as a sound that's related to it. And this sound, believe it or not, when I heard it, I actually heard it doing the same thing that the horn part was doing. It was doing the same exact part, but just on a bass. So it sounded like this. Or so I'm literally just gonna make that same part. I'm gonna do it low here. I wanted to sound more like a bass, like a bass sound is like lower in sound a lot of times, even though it can go up high. And I'm just gonna make that part. So here we go, watch this. All right, so it wasn't perfect, but again, just for the sake of example, here's how it sounds. And then, like I said, if I loop that, then that's just going to keep playing. And then, like I said, we got a version of this aspect of the beat. So with this, yeah, what do you all think about this? What are some thoughts or questions you might have? I know I'm doing a whole lot, and you've never seen like a lot of this stuff be done before. So I know it's probably a lot of things that
It's awesome.
Sweet. Now I'll tell you something. This is really, really fun to do. Like, one day, if you all find yourself downloading a free program on your computer, or if you like have with certain computers, like if you have an Apple computer, this particular program, a version of this program comes with it. You all ever heard of GarageBand?
No.
Okay. So GarageBand is an Apple program that's basically this same exact program. And I'll show it to you before we get out of here. But that's a program where you do the same thing. You're able to pull up sounds and record your own music. And this is a lot of fun to play around with. I mean, because it's like playing a video game. You just got sounds and there's no rules, at least in this game. You just have.
Can you? Oh, sorry. Go there.
No problem. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Can you send it to me? My mom's computer, so I can download it.
So your mother actually has it on her computer already and on her phone, because GarageBand, the program that comes with Apple products. So whether a person has a laptop, a desktop, a phone, or a pad, GarageBand is actually on there. So you can look it up, GarageBand, B-A-N-D.
I might go on my mom's iPad.
Yeah. So
it's bigger.
So I'm gonna show, and it's a lot of fun to play around with. And of course, you can find countless tutorials on YouTube. Now I'm gonna show you all one more thing that I'm gonna do with this beat. I'm actually gonna improvise. I'm gonna actually make up my own part, like one other of my own part to add to this beat. Maybe one or two. I might do acoustic guitar and violin. But I want to basically show you all, just like, again, we're listening to music. We're listening to all these different things, the sound, the pitch. We're going to actually go back through that again, or finish that. But this is what I want to do. When I play this beat, now I'm listening in my mind to see, like, what other kind of sound do I hear that I think would go with this? So, and I'm going to use the violin to just create a part. I'm going to listen to it first. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this part right here. I'm just going to do something simple like. I'm just going to do something like that to just add to it. Now, how would you describe this part? How would you describe these as long sounds or short sounds that I'm doing?
Short.
Right. Those are short for sure. As far as the pitch, whether it's a low sound or a high sound, how would you describe that? You describe it low or high?
A high sound.
Yep.
Is it normal? Is it normal for me to lose my voice when I try to scream at the top of my lungs?
Yes, it is very normal. It is.
Well, I actually already lost my voice from doing that.
Right.
Like I can't scream high pitched anymore. Maybe it's because I'm getting old. I was wondering, is it because I'm getting older, or is it because I scream too loud?
Right. So it may be a bit of both. So it may be, if you do scream a lot, then yeah, you would lose your voice a lot. Your voice also could be changing too. You'll notice that as you get, because you are what, 10? Are you 10 or I forgot. You're 10 or 9.
Man.
You're 9, right? Okay. So yeah, you will start noticing that your voice will change. You won't be able to hit that, like get up there. Like the same thing with my voice. I used to be able to really get up there high, but yeah. But yeah, you might want to also be careful with doing a lot of screaming too, because you don't want to damage your vocal cords. I mean, it's normal to scream every now and then, but yeah, if it's too prolonged, then yeah, you might damage your cords. You don't want to do that. So this
See,
one,
I don't scream anymore. I don't scream anymore.
okay. Well,
Because I can't scream.
I
I
got.
can't scream anymore.
I know what you said. I'm gonna switch over to this chart real quick because I want to go through these. Okay, so we said that this pitch was kind of high. We said that the rhythm was short. They were short rhythms. Okay, Tony, how would you describe the dynamics? So the dynamics are whether it's loud, quiet. Would you describe this as loud, quiet, or silent? Which one would you describe this as?
Medium and screechy with the violin.
Nice.
It's a screeching noise.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the violin. Like I used to play and it used to be really screechy.
Mm-hmm. Tony, I love that, man. That was really, really good what you said. Because you're right, it is screechy. And check this out. Screechy actually is a part of that top one right there, timbre. It tells you that it's a violin, like you said, Aaron. That's how you know because you used to play and this is common. One of the things about violin is that I almost feel like out of all the instruments a person can learn, all of them, when you're first starting out, I mean, you're going to sound like you're just starting. It almost seems like the violin is like the most screechy, like dissatisfying sound when you just first starting because it just
Also, it's very easy. It's the most easy for me. It was the most easiest instrument to play
oh wow.
because all you had to know was the simple strings, and I could play the anthem.
Right. Okay. So yeah.
And so like
Mhm.
no man.
Okay, no problem. I definitely what you're saying, these are really good because like you said, you have different instruments that have different levels of complexity, and that's one thing I like that you noticed on there because of the way you move your hands or because of the way where the notes are. Some people find it easy like yourself. Some people, find it hard. But yeah, this is how you know this sound. Tony, you made a really good observation, man. Really good observation. Okay, so let me tell you all what the structure is for this. So structure, as we see here, when you're thinking about structure in music, you're thinking about the order of ideas. So the idea that I had in my head, I started singing it, and I said, dun 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 dun, and then I did this. I said dun 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 dun, like I had another idea at the end, and then I went back to dun 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 dun, and then I had a different idea the second time. I went dun 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 dun. So I had like two different ideas, and this was my structure. I thought about all that, and that was my structure. And then the last thing on here that we see is texture. Then it's down at the bottom, and that's just layers of sound. So going back to the screen, the recording program.
Excuse my mom.
Oh, no problem.
Excuse my mom.
No problem.
She's yelling and screaming and her usual stuff.
Yeah, we had to let her know about what we learned. So look, check this out, right? So the layers of sound here are drums. Drums is one layer. Another layer of sound we did was the brass or the horns. And then I recorded the bass after that. That was another layer. And now we're going to this violin part, and I'm going to put this layer on there. So those are all those elements that we're talking about just coming together in a beat. So that's why I said, and Tony, I was saying this to Aaron before you jumped in here, I was saying that the one fun thing about music appreciation is that it's not hard because it's not work. All you're doing is just listening to music and just listening for the rhythm, the tempo, the tone, the texture. I'm sorry, the timbre, the texture, the dynamics. You're just listening that way and just enjoying it. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna record this part on there, and then that's gonna be our final thing. So 1, 2.
Miss.
Yep, go ahead. I'm listening. Give me the
No,
question.
no. I could do that then. I could do that.
Okay. So, and again, don't worry about if it cuts out. Don't worry about if it cuts out. I'll play it, and you'll be able to hear it in a few seconds. So, all right, here we go. Last piece. Let's see. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, hold on 1 second because I got you guys muted. All right, so now
That was the best beat that I've ever.
And I so appreciate. I'm so happy to be doing this with you. I'm telling you, I'm so happy because I love showing this kind of stuff, and I love showing how I did this. When I started, I actually wasn't too much older than you all when I started doing this. Believe it or not, my one of my closest friends at that time, he called me over his house because he had some music equipment that, like a little keyboard. It was really like like a keyboard like how you have, Aaron, just one of those, like a Casio kind of keyboard.
The one my brother has in his room.
Yeah. And so,
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tony. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I still had you muted. Sorry, hold on. I thought I was trying to take you off. Okay, were you saying, wait a minute. Were you saying something, Tony? Okay, you weren't. Okay. So I started off with like one of those, and I was doing this. I started making beats. I started putting together these sounds. So I love sharing this. And because it's fun, you can start young. Like you literally can just start right where you are and just have fun. All right, so here's the beat all together. I'm gonna play it. I already hit the loop button so that violin part I just recorded, so that it could just keep going on and on, even longer than I initially recorded it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and. Now check this out. I'm gonna tell y'all something, and this is how inspiration hits you. So while that was going on, I heard another part. Watch this. I'm gonna just freestyle this part, and I'm gonna record this in. I'm gonna record an acoustic guitar part. So you're gonna hear this. I'm gonna try something. I think I heard a sound in my mind that might fit. So the sound I'm hearing now, we'll use a different sound and all that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna just use this to keep it simple. This is the sound. This is the idea that I was hearing, and I just started playing it over. I did like this. I just kept doing that rhythm. Now, the two other elements that we didn't go over here, and we're almost done, guys, but the two other elements that we didn't go over here that I forgot was melody and harmony. Now, Aaron, do you remember Do you remember, based off of last time when I played those notes, what would we call this, a melody or harmony based on the way I'm playing these notes?
Melody.
Right. And the reason why we would call it melody is because of the fact that I'm playing those notes one at a time. Instead of playing those notes one at a time, if I play them all together like this, that's all of this. Each of this, yep, that's harmony. Now watch this. I'm gonna show you all something, just so you can hear how, like, I could do melody or harmony to this beat. Watch this. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit so that way the guitar sticks out a little bit more and is a bit louder. Now watch this. I can do which is that's harmony. Let's hear how that sounds with it, and then I'm gonna play the melody. All right, and if you notice, I did it two ways, because the second I was like, let me play the rhythm less. Instead of playing it like this and then doing it again and then doing it again, I was like, let me leave some space. So I was like, all right, so that's harmony. Now here's melody. I'm gonna do that to the beat. So I changed up the melody. I heard a better idea. I heard this. Are you raising your hand, Tony? Okay.
No, it's like a speedster glitch in the matrix of the system. If you move around fast enough, it looks like it.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually do a combination of both of those. So I'm going to do. And then after that, I'm going to go. And I'm going to just hold it. All right. So here we go. This is it. And then we're done right here. I'm just going to put this in. And I'm basically doing harmony and melody. One part is a melody part, and then I'm gonna do the acoustic guitar as the harmony part. Here we go. One. All right, and then I'll be right back to see what you all think, or see if you hear it. All right, here we go. And here we go. Harmony. Okay, so I want to ask you all a question to see if you can get into my mind to see what I'm thinking. All right. So I am going to loop that part so that way it keeps repeating. And I want you all to take a guess. I'm going to play it, and then I want you to listen to the way I did that acoustic guitar part, that layer that I add onto it. And I want you to tell me why I might have recorded it that way. I'm going to play it first for a second. Harmony. harmony. All right, cool. So tell me, why do you all think that I chose to record both parts instead of just recording the melody or just recording harmony? Why do you think I record both parts?
Because you wanted to.
It's definitely because I wanted to. That is that 100% is the right answer. It's the correct answer. This is what my buddy used to say. You're like this. So sometimes in life, when someone says an answer like that, but it's not really the answer you were looking for, then you can say, yes, that was the correct answer, but it wasn't the right answer. So yes, it is because I wanted to. But why? What might have I been thinking about musically? I mean, listen to the difference between the two parts. One part goes, and then the other part just goes. So why might have I wanted to use both of them? Like, what might have I been thinking about as far as the way the music goes? And if you don't,
because you basically wanted every single thing of music in the same song.
Got you. So it was kind of like I wanted to put, as many ideas as I could, or put all the ideas together. But here's the real reason why. When I listen to that part, I like it because there's a contrast. And what I mean by contrast is it doesn't keep doing the same thing over and over like all the time. Like if you notice the rest of the parts that we did, they just keep doing the same thing over and over. This one switches up. So the first it goes here first. And then your ear hears that and it's like, okay. And then all of a sudden you hear this. And then it stays there for a little bit of time. The reason why I did that is because when you stay here for a little bit of time, you switch up. Then when the other comes back in, then all of a sudden it's like a nice change. It's a nice contrast. It's a nice, way of doing something different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now, last but not least, now with me telling you now why I did that, why I switched up the part, and why I decided to do that. Now, listen to it again in relationship to the rest of the music. Oh, the other reason, because I thought that with doing that it would make it sound more interesting. I thought that it would just make it sound more interesting than just if it just kept doing this. And if it just kept doing that, it's like, okay. But if it switches up, then it makes it a bit more interesting. So here it is. So it just gives your ear something different to listen to, so it makes it more interesting. Some of the times when I hear certain pieces of music, whether it's hip hop, if we just talk about hip hop, some hip hop beats I hear, I like them, but I'm like, I wish they would do something different. It's just the same thing, and maybe I want to hear something different, So that's why I did that. I made a different choice as far as not only going from melody to harmony, but I also changed the rhythm too. That rhythm was going much slower. That's slower. That's holding, and the other was, So yeah, but that's how I want to round out this. Let's just take 5 minutes just to touch bases to just kind of see how you feel with that. What does it make you think about? Are there any things that you find interesting or that you have questions about with this. Yeah, what, how do you all feel about this? Do you have any questions? What are your questions?
Oh, actually, I do, but it's not related to music.
Nope. All right, so right before you go there, let me just make sure, Tony, do you have any? I mean, was this, first of all, like, have you all ever seen anyone do this before? Like build a beat right? I got it.
Oh, actually, yes, I have seen someone do it.
You have? Okay.
You.
Right. Right. Is it is it interesting to you? Do you think that this would be something that you would like to just even play around with, like on your phone or on, because there's a lot of beat programs out there. Like, do you think this would be something y'all would kind of mess around with and play around, see if you can make a beat or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you, Tony? Do you think this would be something you mess around with and see if you can make a beat? Not really. Okay.
He said no.
Yeah, I totally understand. So, now, Tony, what about this, Tony? Let me ask you another question. So your so this was, part of the beat that you like most, the song that you like. Did you find it interesting that you heard like a sort of a version of the song that you like, the DMX song? I mean, was that interesting?
No,
Huh?
It wasn't interesting to me.
I got it. Got you.
Tony, that is so weird.
Aaron, this is truth.
What type of song?
Okay, this is truth.
So if you listen to the song, you just listen to the lyrics, you don't like the music in the background?
And music is subjective. It's enjoy different things.
Different background song, you like it a little different, or?
So yeah, so basically an explanation and putting all this together. Believe it or not, even the person who made that DMX beat, like this is how they did it. They sat down with a recording program and they thought about one sound at a time, and they just put it together that way. So okay, cool. Well, this will wrap up our experience today. Basically, just like before, the only goal, and I'm gonna go back to what I was sharing about the elements, because again, this is literally the only thing we ever have to look at or ever study, period, in this whole experience, and even your own experience. It's just looking at these different things, these different elements. And so all I want you to do, same thing like last week, pick a song. Aaron, next week we're gonna actually go over your song, the one that you found to be, your favorite, and we're gonna do the same thing with. We're gonna remake that or make some version of it. But until then, your only goal is to enjoy listening to music, and I'm gonna send you all this chart so you can look at it. Listen to music and just think about these different things. Think about the pitch that you're hearing. Think about whether it's fast or slow, or long or short. Think about whether the music, as far as the dynamics, is loud or soft or quiet. Think about the texture. Think about what instruments you hear. And that's it. And enjoy yourself. All right? So, cool, guys. Are there any... Oh, Aaron, you had an unrelated question. Was it something... that you wanted to ask here? Oh, Aaron must have ran to the restroom. Okay.
I can ask you later.
Okay, sounds good. So, all right, everybody. So on that tip, then I appreciate you all. I always enjoy this time with y'all, and I definitely look forward to hanging out next time and listening to some more music and making some more beats. All right. All right. Take care now.
Bye.
See ya.
See you next week.
Yeah. Take care.
Yeah. So to help me to make more content like this, please see the info in the description or comments. Thanks so much for watching. And And if we're not already connected on all my other homes, the Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, etc., but you can find me at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, V at Aaron Hill TV, .TV on IG.